Big moves are shaking up the NFL, and the quarterback carousel isn't slowing down. Russell Wilson is headed to the Giants, but is he really the answer? And what's going on with Aaron Rodgers? Why hasn't he signed yet? Plus, are the Vikings truly all in on JJ McCarthy, or is another twist coming? In this video, there's a lot to break down, so stick around as we dive into all the latest moves, what they mean for the teams, and what could happen next. Let's get into it. Russell Wilson is officially heading to the New York Giants on a one-year contract worth up to $21 million, with half of that amount guaranteed. This move places him in the NFC East, where he's expected to take over as the team's starting quarterback. For now, he joins a quarterback group that includes Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito. The news has already sparked reactions from the team, with wide receiver Darius Slayton showing his enthusiasm in social media. He posted, quote, "Giants country, let's ride," making it clear that he's excited about Wilson's arrival. This decision has drawn mixed responses from fans and analysts alike. Some see it as an opportunity for the Giants to improve, while others remain skeptical about how much of a difference Wilson can make. On the show Get Up, one of the key producers, Pete McConville, often called Angry Pete from New Jersey, had a strong reaction to the news. He's known for his blunt and often frustrated takes on football, and this was no exception. After discussing Wilson's signing earlier in the morning, he sent a text summarizing what many Giant fans might feel. Though not the most optimistic, his message reflected a common sentiment. The Giants would be bad with Wilson anyway, so just lose again, get the #1 draft pick, bring in a new coach and general manager, and start fresh. That perspective makes a lot of sense. Even with a big-name quarterback, the Giants' struggles likely wouldn't disappear overnight. The team has deeper issues that won't be solved with just one player, no matter how talented he is. Even if they had managed to land someone like Aaron Rodgers, expectations for a major turnaround wouldn't have been high. Vegas oddmakers seem to agree, indicating that Wilson's presence alone won't necessarily change the Giants' fortunes this season. When a team's leadership is fighting to keep its job, making the right long-term decisions becomes even harder. The Giants are in that exact situation, caught between trying to save the current regime and doing what's actually best for the team's future. In reality, they've put themselves in this difficult position. Things might look different if they were starting fresh with a new head coach. It's not about calling for someone to be fired. That's not the point. However, Giants owner John Mara made his stance very clear in a recent interview with Bruce Beck in New York. His message was simple: "This team needs to start winning now. I'm losing my patience." That kind of statement puts enormous pressure on the general manager and coaching staff. It forces them into a win-now mindset, which completely clashes with what the Giants should actually be doing: rebuilding for the long term. Vegas odds makers have set their projected win total at just 3.5 games, which says a lot about expectations. A team in that position shouldn't make short-term decisions just to scrape together a few more wins. Instead, they should focus on drafting and developing a quarterback who can lead the team for years. But here's the real issue. The Giants have fallen into the same trap that has plagued the Bears for years. They hold on to a quarterback too long, then finally draft a new one, only to fire the entire coaching staff and front office shortly after. And then the cycle starts all over again with a new regime, a new system, and more uncertainty. This constant turnover prevents real progress, and that's exactly what's happening in New York right now. At some point, John Mara has to take control and commit to a real plan. A franchise can't just keep making decisions based on short-term pressure. The focus needs to be on long-term stability, not just keeping people around for its sake. And that's the biggest problem the Giants need to fix. Angry Pete makes a good point. If you're Brian Daboll or Joe Schoen, you want job security and stability for your family. So bringing in Russell Wilson makes sense from their perspective. But for Giants fans, it's easy to say that in March, we shouldn't just tank and try again next year. Fast forward to December when the team gets blown out every week and no one is thinking happily, "I love this plan." That frustration turns into anger when fans are forced to watch a season where nothing is working. That's exactly what happened last year. The losses kept piling up, the product on the field was hard to watch, and now, at the very least, the team deserves credit for trying to compete. This all goes back to their decision-making over the years. Their loyalty to Eli Manning lasted too long, much like what happened with Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh. Moving on from a franchise legend is never easy, but holding on too long can set a team back. Then came the Daniel Jones decision. He won a playoff game, and they responded by giving him a contract extension when the smarter move would have been placing the franchise tag on him. That would have given them time to properly evaluate whether he was truly the long-term answer. Instead, they locked themselves into a deal that now looks like a mistake. Now, the front office is at a crossroads. Do they make decisions that benefit their own job security, or do they do what's best for the franchise's future? It's the same dilemma the Jets faced last year. They made a move to try and win immediately, but the smarter, more responsible choice might have been different. The Giants are now in that same position. Do they make a move that sells hope for the future, or do they acknowledge that they've made some missteps along the way? And what exactly is the long-term plan? When Dabble and Schoen pitched their vision for the team, drafting or trading for Russell Wilson likely wasn't part of it. Now, under the circumstances, bringing in Wilson makes sense. A team still needs a quarterback when the season kicks off in September, and Jameis Winston wasn't going to be that guy. They're paying him $2 million. He was never brought in to be the long-term answer. But if they draft Shedeur Sanders at number 3 because they believe in him, and then a new coaching staff comes in next year, suddenly he might not fit into their system. That's how teams get stuck in the cycle of failure. A quarterback gets to year 4 and he's already played under multiple offensive coordinators and different head coaches. That kind of instability ruins a young quarterback's development, and it's exactly what the Giants need to avoid. Now, where does this leave Aaron Rodgers? Well, that's the next big question. Aaron Rodgers has been one of the most talked about names in the NFL offseason, with speculation swirling around where he might end up. Several teams have been linked to him, including the Giants, Steelers, and Vikings. While the Giants ultimately moved in a different direction, the Steelers remain an option, but the situation with the Vikings is far more intriguing. Last week, sources told ESPN that Minnesota had shifted its focus away from Rodgers and instead invested in rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy. That decision raised questions, especially considering how aggressive the Vikings have been in their offseason moves. McCarthy recently spoke about his position on the Up and Adam show, where he was asked if the Vikings had assured him that he would be their starting quarterback. His response was notable. He said they hadn't, and he wasn't actually glad about that. He explained that he wanted to earn the job every single day rather than have it handed to him. That's exactly the kind of mindset that resonates with veteran players. It signals a willingness to prove himself, compete, and establish his place rather than simply expecting it based on draft status. However, this still leaves a lingering question. If the Vikings are fully committed to McCarthy, why hasn't the door been completely closed on Rodgers? If Pittsburgh was truly his only remaining option, why hasn't that deal been finalized yet? It's possible that Minnesota is still weighing its options behind the scenes, trying to determine if Rodgers might be the missing piece that gives them a legitimate shot at a championship. Minnesota has certainly built a roster that suggests they're currently trying to compete at the highest level. They made major offseason signings, bringing in impact players like Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, Ryan Kelly, and Will Fries, moves that indicate a strong push for immediate success. However, history shows that first-year starting quarterbacks rarely lead teams to Super Bowl victories. The last time it happened was Tom Brady and Kurt Warner, and both of those situations were unique. Injuries forced those teams into starting young, unproven quarterbacks, and they happened to defy the odds. That's not the case with McCarthy, who's being positioned as the future of the franchise. Betting on him to replicate that kind of success is a huge risk. At the same time, if the Vikings were set on bringing in Rodgers, why haven't they done it already? He's available, and Minnesota has had plenty of time to make a move. So what's the holdup? Maybe they are hesitant because they don't want to disrupt McCarthy's development. Maybe they feel like signing Rodgers would send the wrong message, make it seem like they don't fully believe in the young quarterback they just invested in. Or maybe they genuinely believe that McCarthy gives them the best chance to win right now. But here's the big question. Can a rookie quarterback truly lead them to a Super Bowl? That's what the Vikings need to figure out. they should fully commit to him if they're confident that McCarthy is their guy. But if there is even the slightest doubt that he can deliver on the biggest stage, why not take a shot at a proven veteran like Rodgers? The narrative that Rodgers is washed up may be an exaggeration. He played better than most people realized last season, and he still has the ability to elevate a team. Wherever he ends up, there's a strong chance that he will prove a lot of people wrong. Will the Vikings take that gamble, or will they stick to their plan and trust that McCarthy is ready to take the reins? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed keeping up with the latest NFL updates, trade rumors, and in-depth analysis, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.